Hello, I'm going to show you how to make a cushion out of an old jumper. I think we've all been having a bit of a clear out, and you might find some old jumpers that you don't need anymore after the winter. And I'm just going to show you what to do with them if you fancy making a cushion. If you've got them, you need a bit of a pile. I've got a big old pile of cushions, big pile of jumpers here. I'll show you what we're going to do with those later. Sorry, keep banging the table. So choose the one you really like. I really like the colour of this one, this old jumper. And so you might find a jumper that's got a pattern on or something, or just a colour that you like. And then all you need to do is to cut the top off. I've already done this one, so there's the top that's been cut off. We'll add that to the pile because we're going to need that later. So you end up with a square shape like this. Okay. So we've got the bottom of the jumper and the line you've got along the top. Okay. Now this jumper's still inside out. You can see the label. So leave it inside out. And now we're going to start stitching. It's very, very simple, this. So you're going to need some wool, scissors obviously, because you just cut your jumper, and need a needle with a great big hole, great big eye, so you can get the wool through it. Okay. So all we need to do is to stitch with an in and out stitch all the way along that line, and then all the way along that line. You mustn't forget to leave a gap, but I'll tell you about the gap later. Okay. So we're going to start at this corner because the side of this is already stitched up because it was your jumper. You don't need to do that side. So we're just going to stitch along the bottom. Okay. So I'm going to make a start here. Push my needle through. And then really good way. I forgot to say that I've used bright green so that I can see it really easily, and it's good if you've got a nice brightly coloured contrasting colour to the wool jumper you used already. Okay, so with my green wool I've made one stitch, and what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to tie a knot so that my thread doesn't, my wool doesn't slip out, and then another knot. Okay, and now I'm ready to do my stitching. So through one side and back through the other. So in and out, or if you like, down and then up. Can you see they're quite big stitches? Doesn't matter if you can see it, it's easier if you can see it. Okay, and we're just going to keep on going with that stitch all the way along. Okay, I'm going to stop there and show you what I've done earlier so that it doesn't take ages. But you keep on doing that all the way to the end of the bottom of your jumper, and then when you get to this bit, stitch all the way along, but you need to stop. I'll show you on this one. Turn this one inside out again. So this is one I did earlier. So can you see my stitches all the way along there? Okay, so I went all the way along one side. That's the handy thing about having the contrasting colour. It doesn't have to be green. So if you've got a yellow jumper, it could be blue wool, just as long as it's not the same colour. So you see, I've stitched all the way along here. Oh, I had to stitch up my armholes because it was quite a short jumper. So you might have to do that. Anyway, I stitched all the way along, and now I've left a gap. You can see that. So I tied a knot here to stop the threads slipping. Now this gap doesn't need to be any bigger than that, really. As long as a pencil, I suppose. There's my pencil. Yeah, about that long. Which is just enough room to get your stuffing into the hole. And then once you've stuffed your cushion, we're going to sew up the hole. Okay. So once you've done that in-out running stitch all the way around, we've got to turn it the right way out. Okay. Put it all through the hole. And then make sure you poke the corners right out. That's the third corner, and that's the fourth. Okay. So, you see this one I've done earlier, had a nice pattern on it. It used to be the front of the jumper. I thought that would make a really nice cushion. So, just so that when you stuff the cushion, it doesn't all poke out, because the running stitch holds it all together, but it might not stop the stuffing from poking out of the cushion. And also, I thought this looked really nice. I've done this overstitch on this one. So I started at this corner, and I did an over and over and over stitch all the way around. So the green shows up really well on this black jumper, doesn't it? So it comes all the way around, and I carried on stitching. I had to put some new wool in there, so that'll need trimming off in a minute. So I ran out, re-threaded my needle, carried on, and all the way up this side, around the last corner, and now I've got this last little bit to do, but I thought we'd do that together and show you how that stitch works. It's very, very easy. So you just hold the two edges together as tight as you can, and then just push the needle through both edges, and it makes that kind of shape. Do another one. Sometimes the wool gets a bit bunched up, so you just have to tease it out. Try not just keep pulling, because sometimes it breaks the wool. Then you've got to re-thread the needle. That's really boring. I'm just going to give myself a bit more. Make it nice and slowly. Sewing always seems to go wrong when you're rushing. So it's good to just take it nice and slowly. And then that makes it a really nice, peaceful, relaxing thing to do. It's a bit difficult to get my ball through these embroidered bits. Just push a bit harder. Over the tricky bit now. So if we don't do this careful hemming, because we've just cut these jumpers up, they'll unravel really quickly if you don't do this careful hemming. So just carrying on without overstitching. And I can see that I'm nearly there, because this is the beginning of my gap. Just there, you see that stitch from inside, and then I've got my gap. Okay, that's where the stuffing is going to go in. So a few more stitches to go, and then we'll be finished with this bit. Then I'll show you how to do the stuffing. And of course, you don't have to use old jumpers. It's just a good way of using them up. You might have some proper cushion stuffing left over from another sewing project. So you can buy the special cushion stuffing if you want to. But in the interest of recycling, I'm going to stuff my cushion made out of an old jumper with more old jumpers. Right, I'm on my last stitch now, so I'm going to do 2 or 3 stitches in the same place, like we've done before. Saves us having to tie a knot. That's 1, 2, overstitch in the same place 2 or 3 times, saves you having to tie a knot. Okay. Right, I'm just going to snip that off there. I think while I've got my scissors, I had a bit to snip off over here, didn't I? I'll do that now. I'll show you what this lovely running stitch looks like all the way around. Okay. Looks really smart, doesn't it? Okay, so we're going to do the stuffing now. I'm going to get my old jumpers, pile of old jumpers, and then just start stuffing them in. Push them to the corners first. There's a bit of the sleeve there. That's going in there. There's this old jumper. It's got a bit shapeless. It's been washed lots of times, so it really needs recycling. It's starting to look like a cushion, isn't it? So one can go into that corner. Just spread it out a bit so it's not lots of lumps in one place. Now you don't want to overstuff it, but make sure you've got enough. It's looking pretty good now. With a bit of shaking out, I think that'll look really good. Oh, sorry, I'm bouncing the video again, isn't I? Okay, so we just need to stitch up this gap now. So we've got to be a little bit careful. I've got some pins here, because as I say, if we leave this edge, it'll just fray and then the stitching will come undone. So we've got to turn these 2 edges in. So overlap this edge first, turn that edge in, and then turn this edge in and press both together. Okay, so we're going to put a pin in there. Turn that edge in, put a pin in here. I'm going to need 3 pins, 3's fine. And then finally turn that last bit in so it makes a nice neat edge, nice neat corner. And then back to our green stitching. So we're not going to bother with the in-out stitch first, because we can only do that inside out. So we're just going to do the over stitch, the running stitch over the top. So we're going to start where we stopped, just after, see what I mean? So pull that, it's nearly there, and then tie a knot. It's a little bit awkward now we've got the stuffing inside. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So a knot, and then another one to keep that secure, and then we can start our stitches. keep on stitching. Got a bit caught up. I've gone past one pin. Now I'm just at the next pin. So we're very nearly there. I'm quite excited to see how my cushion is going to look. Last few stitches. Also forget to take my pins out at the end. And I think this is my last stitch. Just finishing off. So remember, 1, 2 stitches in the same place, 3 stitches in the same place, and then we can just snip off the ends. Put my needle down, I can snip off both of those ends at the same time, and then that one. Take my pins out, let's forget that. And then we're done. So put my needle and my scissors over there so I can show you my beautiful cushion. I think it's lovely. Look at that. It's very comfy. I'm going to have a nice little sleep on that. And it hasn't cost a penny. It's all made with recycling. Put it on my chair over here. You see it on my chair? Very, very comfy, doesn't it? Okay, I hope you enjoyed that, and hope you enjoy having a go at making an old jumper cushion. Okay, I'll see you next time, hopefully. Goodbye for now.